Is the Citi Strata Elite really as terrible and disappointing as everyone is saying? Well, we're gonna dive into the data today and find out for sure.
You guys ready to get weird tonight or what? For sure.
First things first, if you find any value in this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be referencing a website. That website is my own. You can use it for free. All you gotta do is come over here to the sign up button, click sign up, click one of these little buttons to log in, and you are in. Now, I kind of missed the release on this card because we were heading out on a vacation. I have a couple of videos reviewing those vacations right here. But yeah, so I already had a bunch of videos queued up to be released during that time. I didn't really have an opportunity to review that card when it first came out. So I figured I'd let it simmer for a while and see what everybody thought, and then come in and analyze the data and find out if the data actually lines up with the sentiment. And so far, the sentiment's not been great. It seems like everyone is kind of disappointed in Citi, didn't go far enough, which I can totally understand at face value, but what really matters is the data. So we're gonna do a quick review of the card, and then we're gonna jump into some card comparisons and see how it stacks up. And at the end, I'll give you my final thoughts. Now, the Citi Strata Elite, since it's a brand new card, doesn't exactly have a standard sign-up bonus. I'm guessing at the 70,000 points here, it's gonna be somewhere between 60 and 70, maybe 75. It seems high for the standard bonus if they only have an 80,000 limited time offer, which is what they started out with the limited time offer. You can earn 80,000 bonus points after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months. But best guess, 60 to 70. The Strata Premier is at 60. That seems kind of low for the annual fee on this card, but they do the exact same thing on both Sapphire cards, so that's probably where they're copying it from. So I'm hoping it'll be 70, but it could be 60. The annual fee is $595. Now you can get that annual fee down to an effective annual fee of $65. It just depends on which benefits you utilize. We'll go over those here in a minute. There are no foreign transaction fees. You can redeem your points in the travel portal, and it does have access to transfer partners. 19 in total, actually, and we can scroll down through here. You got the all rewards, Aero Mexico. Now the big daddy is, and what everyone is excited about, is the American Airlines, because other than Bilt, which Bilt discontinued American Airlines recently, no one's transferring to American Airlines. So Citi just started that, I think, the end of the summer, and it could be huge. It could be huge if they don't nerf it. But honestly, I mean, you say that about pretty much any transfer partner if they don't nerf it. So, but then it's got some of the standard players: Cathay Pacific, Choice Privileges, Emirates, Etihad, Flying Blue, Virgin Atlantic. I prefer, might be okay, depends on what they transfer to and from. And then you've got the Infinity Mileage Lands, Chris Flyer, Leaders Club, Avianca, Miles and Smiles, Circus Airlines, Qantas, which might be a good airline to transfer to for that, and then Royal Orchid Plus, JetBlue, and then Wyndham Rewards. As for spending categories, you get 12x on car rentals in the portal. You get 12x on hotels in the portal. You get 6x on airfare in the portal. You get 3x on dining, includes fast food, and everything else is 1.5x. Now, because the Elite has access to transfer partners, like I mentioned, you tend to get a better value on the points that you earn. The pointsguy.com values Citi thank you points at 1.85 cents per point. So that's gonna feel like you're earning much more on these categories. So for 12x on car rentals, hotels, it'll feel like you're getting 22.2, and then 6 to 11.1. Dining, it's gonna feel like 5.55, and then all other 2.78. So when you're comparing these points to other credit card points systems, this kind of levels the playing field. We'll cover that in the credit card comparisons, and you'll see how that works if you're new to the channel. But especially with American Airlines right now, this is probably a pretty, 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 with that a lot of work. Now for the card benefits, there's a decent amount of credits on here. So you get the global entry or TSA pre-check. I consider that a high value benefit. Now, if you have a bunch of travel cards, you get them on all the big travel cards. So it becomes less of a high value benefit because you have 4 of them and you don't really need 4. But you receive a statement credit for up to $120 every 4 years. I break that out into yearly increments. So that's $30 a year in value. Then you have a $300 hotel credit. Also, I consider this a high value benefit. Every calendar year, enjoy a $300 off of a hotel stay of 2 nights or more when you book through Citi Travel. Fairly simple. $300 is a decent showing in this credit, and you don't have to split it up. It could be on one hotel stay. It just needs to be for 2 nights or more, which honestly, why not? There's a $200 splurge credit. Also consider this a high value. Every calendar year, earn up to $200 in statement credits on your choice of up to 2 of the following brands. So first dibs, American Airlines, some exclusions apply, Best Buy, Future Personal Training, and Live Nation. So Best Buy seems pretty easy, and then also American Airlines seems pretty easy. I mean, you could use that for baggage fees and that kind of stuff at the very least. You get plus 3x on Citi Nights weekend dining. So you get 3x on dining just intrinsically with the card. But on weekends, well, Friday and Saturday, at specific Citi Nights restaurants, then you get an additional 3x. So if that works out for you in your city, that's great. That could be your best dining card ever. There's a $200 Black Line credit every calendar year, right in style, with up to $200 of statement credits towards a chauffeur service with Black Line. Earn up to $100 in the first half and another $100 in the second half. That's not really for me. If you're a big chauffeur type of person, then you get to save $100 each time, twice a year. So you get 4 Admirals Club passes. These are the American Airlines lower tier lounges. These aren't the flagship lounges, which are really nice. These are flagships. When you do a first class ticket with American Airlines, you get automatic access to that. So still decent, 2 times a year you get to use their Admirals Club lounge, which again isn't the really nice lounges. It's more of the what I would consider the priority pass type lounge level. So it's still good. It would have been pretty amazing if they offered flagship lounges. I don't know why they didn't, but oh well. And then on top of that, you get Priority Pass Select membership, which is pretty standard on the higher end travel cards. They also have primary collision damage waiver, so that's up to $75,000 per rental agreement. And then there's, for the travel protections, there's the baggage delay insurance, a lost luggage insurance, trip cancellation and interruption insurance, and trip delay insurance. As for application rules, now these come with a grain of salt. These are all based on rumor and innuendo. So they don't post these on their website, but this is what I have. The Citi 1-8, you'll be declined if you apply for a Citi card, business or personal, within 8 days. Citi 265, you'll be declined if you apply for a third Citi card within 65 days. Citi 66, you'll be declined if there are 6 or more hard inquiries on your credit report in the past 6 months. They don't have 524. They may as well, because honestly, I find them pretty difficult to get. And then 48 from bonus, you'll be declined if you received a bonus from this card in the past 48 months. This is the same one that like the Sapphires used to have, but now they have lifetime. You can't get it if you've already gotten it once in your entire lifetime. So who knows if they're gonna change this too. But right now, that's what I know. Now, the Citi has the thank you points. That's its point system. We already talked about how it's valued by the points guy at 1.85 cents per point. Cash value, 1 cent per point. Gift card value, about 1 cent per point. You can transfer your points to spouses or friends. There is a 100,000 point limit when transferring. And once they are transferred, they will expire within 90 days. Those points will be used first, but the points you transfer will expire in 90 days if not used by the people you transfer them to. So caveat there. We already talked about the transfer partners, so I'll skip over that. These are the cards that can earn Citi thank you points. These 2 cards you can't apply to anymore, but they're in there just because other site users have those cards and they're still active in their account, but you can't apply for them. That's why they're shaded out. But the Strata Premier, and the Strata Elite all earn thank you points. These two can transfer to all of these partners and they get the full 1 cent per point transfer rate, whereas the Strata doesn't get the full. These can transfer to the transfer partners too, some of them, but at a very limited rate. You get 0.7 cents per point when you transfer. So I wouldn't do that. You're just throwing money away. Honestly, just cash them out. It'd be a better value. I don't even know why they do it, honestly, other than to trick you, which seems terrible, but it's Citi. But if you have one of these two cards, you can transfer points from any of these three cards to that card and then use it at the full value, at the 1 cent per point, over to the transfer partner value. And actually, hotels, I think, are the same as the transfer ratios for these three cards. As these three cards, it's the airlines that are nerfed a little bit for these three cards, which I don't know, kind of makes sense. But Choice is probably your best bet in hotels for this. And then obviously American Airlines, you want to get your points over to one of these cards, transfer American Airlines to get the best value, I believe. Unless you do a lot of overseas flying, then, you know, Air France and Cathay, you can do really well. It just depends on the reward stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of research, but it can be done. All right, let's do some card comparisons. Let's start with the Stratas. So let's compare all three Stratas and just see how they kind of balance out together. Are they complementary? Do they step all over each other? Let's check that out. All right, so here we are on the card comparison page, and they're all World Elites. So that's good. The sign-up bonus, like I said, it could be 60 here. We don't know. I'm hoping for 70. Normally, there's not going to be a sign-up bonus. Well, we don't know about the Strata either. It's at 30,000 points right now. It might be 20,000 points to give you $200 or whatever. But right now, we don't know until these fall off of the limited time offers, and then we'll see what happens. So annual fees, you got $5.95. Huge jump from the 95. No annual fee over here on the regular Strata. Since these are all in the same point system, I'm just going to turn off the point equalizer because they're already equalized. So you got 1.5 on all other. That's pretty cool for a travel card. I don't know why they don't put it on this one though, and then leave this one at 1x and make this a little more needed, I guess is the question. But anyway, 1.5x. You get 12x on car rentals in the portal. That's really good, actually. That's probably the best. Yeah, I think it is. Let's just see. Let's go to the best card section real quick and then click on car rentals portal. Yeah, it's number 1, 12. There's nothing comes close to it. The Premier and then the Venture cards in the same neighborhood. But yeah, it's the number 1 car rental cards. That's a differentiator, so that's cool. So you got dining 3x, 2x over here, 3x on here. Again, I hate when they have overlapping stuff like that, but oh well. No gas EV charging on this one, which, okay, that makes these cards needed. That kind of makes sense. Groceries, both of these cards have groceries. Hotels in the portal. Again, this is going to be probably the best card for hotels. We can click over here, go to hotels in the portal, and it is, yep, best card for hotels in the portal as well. So transit. So this is what makes this card different than all of the other Citi cards, which is good. At least there's something about the regular Strata that makes it needed in their setup. And in airfare, you've got 6x in the portal on airfare. It's not terrible, not incredible. I think if we came over here to the airfare in the portal, that the Sapphires are going to be better, but it's holding its own. You know, you get 5x on the Platinums, but it's outside of the portal too, which is kind of the differentiator on the Platinum. So there is that, and then you've got the benefits that we've covered here a minute ago, but you know, the other two don't have the pre-checks. You got a small hotel credit over on the Premier, so it does much better. It helps with that annual fee. So then, the Elite has the lounge access that the other two do not. So that's a plus, I guess, there. And then the travel protection, similar to the Premier, you get, the baggage delay, lost luggage, trip cancellation delay, trip delay insurance. So you're covered there as well. You don't get that on the Citi Strata. Okay, so let's jump over and compare this card with other setups. So we'll come over to the wallet setups. This is our new V2 that I just announced recently. So we're gonna be using this one. So we'll start out with the Citi. Now, I had dubbed the Citi Fivefecta, the 3 custom caches, the double cache, and the Citi Strata Premier as that. But now that you can't get multiple custom caches anymore, or it's extremely hard, they're definitely denying that, I have moved that name over to the Strata Premier Elite plus the double cache and the custom cache. Now that's the Citi Fivefecta. How about that? And then if you do happen to have 3 or more of the custom caches, we'll just call that the Citi 7. How about that? We'll try on with that. All right, and then you've got the Citi Quadfecta. We're gonna start out with the Fivefecta, and then we're gonna add another wallet, come over to the popular setups, grab the American Express Quadfecta, and then we're gonna do one more. Popular setups, let's click on Chase, and let's grab the Chase Quadfecta. Now, since the new Sapphire Reserve was released, the rule that you couldn't have 2 sapphires at the same time is no more. So it only makes sense to have both, really, because you can cover the groceries now with the preferred, while the big chunk of your travel can be covered by the reserve. So we'll apply that, and here we go. In this new version 2 of the setup comparison tool, you can dive into any of these and see, what the card details entail. It'll just cover each one. Like this one has 3 different processors. It's MasterCard for the Flex, a regular Visa for the Unlimited, Infinite for the Reserve, and a signature for the Preferred. So, and then like with the sign-up bonuses, you can click on here and see what each individual sign-up bonus is, click into the details, see the bonus details. But you get the total there, and then it determines which the quote unquote winner is based on how much the sign up bonus you get there. And then same with the application rules. If you dive into those, you can view the actual application rules for each card. Gives you kind of a high level view of them. And then annual fee, same thing here. So if you dive into the annual fees, this is the winner is the lowest annual fee, obviously, and the loser is the highest annual fee. But if you dive into these, you can see what each annual fee is for each card, and then it gives you the total at the top there. So we'll come into the spending categories, and we'll just quickly cover these as to see who wins what. So better deal on airfare in the portal with the Sapphire, strong showing with the Citi, and then the card that it's showing here is the card that's going to cover that. Now, it doesn't mean it's the only card that's going to cover that. If you watched my video about the new version 2 tool, I cover how that works in coverage. It's possible that more than one card covers your category, and then it basically figures out the cash value on the equalized points and gives you the cash value here. So what we're seeing is the raw earning points. If you prefer to view the equalized points, which was default in the old wallet setup tool, you can just come in here on the advanced settings and select that, close, and then now you're seeing the equalized points highlighted at the top, but it does still show the earned points. This in the old one was the little crossed out points and then the points next to it. But you can also, if you want, just show the cash value, because that's how we're telling you who won what. It's the $820 versus the $555 versus the $500 as to why this card won over the other cards. If you don't think the point values are what they should be, you can always come over here to the point systems, click on that, and then determine what those points should be yourself. So if you don't think that the ultimate reward points are this valuable, you can just come click this edit button edit whatever you want the points to be, and then update that. And in that way, when you come back, those points will be reflected here, and the earnings, the equalized earning points will be lower based on whatever you set it to, and then it'll give you a different winner, so to speak, on these categories, and then ultimately on the total net value. So I'm not telling you what they're worth. I'm telling you what the pointsguy.com, which is, they have some crazy thing where they go and test purchases all the time and figure out what the values on those points are. Doesn't mean you're going to get the same value. So you can just go determine what that value is. And you can just say, even though, yeah, I could, I just don't. So like for me, I just don't do some redemptions the way that you can do it to get more because it's too much of a pain in the butt or whatever. Whatever your excuse is, you can go set all those point values and then determine what they are. So we're just going to keep going on the pointsguy.com's valuations. And here we go. So all other, the Blue Business Plus is pulling it out here. And over here, you're going, oh, is it getting 5X on Amazon? How come it's so close? If it's getting 5X and 2X or 10.25X and 4X, why is it so close? And the reason is it runs out of coverage. So it's only going to cover so much before it runs into its spending cap, and it's only going to be on one quarter because the flex only covers Amazon in one of its quarters. So then it falls down to the 1.5x for the rest of the coverage. So it's earning $128 with the flex, and then the remainder is being earned on the unlimited at 1.5x. Car rentals, we talked about. Citi's killing it over here for that. Got the green covering cruises at 3x, which is great. Now the flex has a quarter where it covers cruise. That's kind of a weird one because you're probably, if you're going to book a cruise, but you're only going to get $1,500, probably no one's using on a cruise. So if you didn't want to use this for cruises, you go, that's never happening. I'm never going to put my cruise on a flex. You can just move that up, and then it'll correct that here and use the preferred instead if you think that's dumb. So, but you have that flexibility. How amazing is that? Department stores, dining, Amex is winning. Drugstores, as usual, the Chase is winning. Flowers and Gardens. Now, this is all based on my annual spending. So this is stuff that I put in. So for Flowers and Gardens, I've said I've spent $500 a year on Flowers and Gardens. A couple of times a year, we'll go get some bags of dirt and some flowers, spend $250. And that's our Flowers and Gardens. So if you don't have Flowers and Gardens, it won't show up here. If you're not spending on that, it won't show up here and be a part of this. Whereas the old tool, it would show all of the earnings for all the cards and put them all together. And the new one, if you're not spending in that category, we're not bothering you about it. We're not showing you that. Why do you care if you're getting 2x on fitness clubs if you don't spend money in fitness? So we don't even put this on here for you. We only show you the categories that you spend in annually on this new version 2 of the tool. So gas stations, Strata is winning at 3x over here, and it's covered by the Strata, but it doesn't have to be. It could be the Premier as well. So both of these would cover it fine at 3x. Same with groceries. It's covering it, but either card could cover that. Groceries is winning in Amex. Again, this is one of those categories where the flex, once a quarter, you can spend on groceries and it'll cover part of that spend. So let's see, groceries, online, home improvement, hotels. We said it did really well in. Internet and cable is winning here. Movie theaters, again, that's one of those quarterly categories. It covers it a little bit. It's covering $25 of it because it's only covering 1/4 of the annual spend of $100. So it's cut. The only thing it can't, because if you spend $100 throughout the year, the flex is only going to cover a quarter of that. So we put $25 of spend on there, so you're making $3 and you're making $2 on the unlimited for that. Coming through here, online rental, pet care is another one of those flex things where it's only covering $1,200, so it's never going to use the full $1,500. It's only going to do a quarter of $1,200. It falls back to the unlimited. If you guys don't think that's cool, I don't know what's wrong with you. I mean, that took some it took some extreme calculating to get it to do that. I think it's amazing, but oh well. Streaming services, transit is doing really well. It does okay over here. And then travel, God, man, I wish there'd be more 3Xs on travel. Like they got rid of that on the Sapphire. They don't have it on the Citi for the generic travel. The green is actually looking much better now. You've got the Autograph that has 3X on generic travel, but it's hard to earn your big value earns on a Wells Fargo card though, like groceries, for it to make much of a difference, but actually just use it for my gas card at the moment. But you got travel, utilities, and wholesale clubs. Amex is winning down the line for that. And then it all matters in terms of the net value for these wallets. It's based on what you use these cards on. We'll just do pre-checks across the board. See, they all have those. So I'm gonna leave them at the defaults. So what I think is the high value credits that can easily be used. Yours is gonna be different. You know, if you're never gonna stay at the edit, then you're gonna miss out on that 500, and that may not make sense to you. For me personally, the edit is super valuable to me. It's the only hotels that I find myself looking to book are hotels that are like edit. I don't want to be in a dirty hotel room that's really cheap while I'm on vacation. My wife is very adamant that we book clean hotels with high star ratings, because why are we even spending the money if we're not? So like the Apple TV, we've been paying for Apple TV out of pocket for a year now. So it's her favorite streaming service. So easy money for us, easy money. Now you could say, I use the Dunkin', I use the dining credit or whatever. The previous year, I actually used the crap out of all these. I haven't used it once this time. I used the Resi credit once. So I got $50, but I haven't used the dining and I haven't used the Dunkin' this year at all. And it's silly because I love Dunkin' iced teas. We just haven't been going and grabbing them for whatever reason, so I haven't used those at all. So anyway, figure out what your benefits, how you would use these cards. Come in here and check all of these boxes. In the new tool, you can kind of dive into these credits and read more about them, or just click here and it'll expand that out if it's being truncated. But it'll show you about that. If you're on a mobile device, the reason I put these there instead of just listing here on a mobile device, these are illegible, so you can't read these. So now I just have a little button. It slides out this nice menu that has all this information written out in a readable format on a phone. So that's why this is the way it is. Once you've figured out which credits you are going to use, then we can come up here to the top again and turn on the net value, which is going to tell us which setup is the best. Here we go. Drum roll, please. And the Chase wallet for me, for my spending, how I use the cards, is the best, but the Citi is the second best over Amex, even with transfer partners. Even with transfer partners, where you're getting 2 cents per point on these and you're only getting 1.85 cents per point, it's doing better. Now, obviously not in the first year. The first year, if you see the net value on the Amex, is always crazy. We all know, always get all the Amex cards you can, and at least have them for a year so you can benefit from the sign-up bonuses, because that's where you're gonna get all your points from. But after that, are you gonna keep those cards, or would you prefer the Citi setup? Now, if you aren't flying and doing the transfer partner redemptions for Chase, if you're not doing Hyatt hotels and trying to really get that 2 cents per point, this is going to be diminished greatly. And then now with American Airlines, this is looking much better. So it depends on how you use it. If you're not religiously getting 2 cents per point on your Chase points, now I feel like I am, because of the edit bookings through the portal. I think I will get pretty close to that, if not, 1.85, somewhere around in there. So I think this is still the best for me, but this is seemingly much better with the Elite added to it. Because if we come over here and get rid of the Elite, Now it's under this one. Now it's not a lot under it, but it's still in the ballpark. And then let's see if we got rid of the new Strata. So the 2 cards this year that they added to their lineup, you know, it's still not terrible. And then if you add Citi custom caches, I think I have this one set to, it's not even using it. Hang on. Oh, I have it set to ride sharing. Hang on, let me change this from ride sharing to actually something useful like groceries. So let me click here and let's put this on groceries and groceries online. So it'll cover both of those. It doesn't do it automatically, but just check both of those when you're using it for groceries. It still counts as your one thing. But all right, so we'll come back over and delete come back over, remove all these cards, and then add them again so it recalculates everything. Oops, let me hit Citi and apply. And then now, much better. It's pretty close to the Sapphire, just covering groceries now, which I mistakenly did not do. So if you come down here to the groceries online thing, here we go. So it's in second place now for that. And I mean, that's pretty good. So back up the net value. If you got rid of the Elite, like it does much worse now. And in terms of that, and if you got rid of the Strata, both the 2 cards that were added, it's still doing well with that grocery that I've added back in mistakenly. So better than Amex. But like I said, with the 2 new cards that they added, I feel like, okay, so first of all, Citi is never going to, they're not trying to win the game. Citi's never trying to win the game. And it's just, they're not trying to be Chase. They're not trying to be Amex. They're just trying to be in the game. They're trying not to be, they're trying not to be a US bank. I'm not trying to be an embarrassment. And so they kind of just do just enough to be in the mix. And as bad as a rap that the Citi Elite and the Strata, and I gave the Strata a bad rap because I thought pretty pointless. But with the Elite, now you're covering, at least you're covering something with the Strata. You're covering transit. So it's not a huge category for me. Some people it is, but at least it has some kind of reason to exist. So you got the Strata for the transit. You got, let me see if you even need the Premier. So we're at 4147. If we get rid of the Premier, yeah, you don't really need the Premier because that's $95 less in annual fees. So you could legitimately just have the Elite. And this is why I thought it was so dumb when the Strata was first released, is because it covered 2 of the major categories, gas and groceries, but the Premier already covered that. So it kind of didn't make sense that it looks like, why even have this card? But now with the Elite that doesn't cover those, now it kind of makes sense. You're making the same amount of money without that extra annual fee. And you're not really missing out on anything. So legitimately don't need the Premier now because of the free Strata. And it's still great. Now, does the customer service suck? Yes. Is it hard to get the stupid cards? Yes. Is Amex the best about giving their cards out to people with giant sign-up bonuses? Yes. But you see why? Because you're just not going to earn as much. The fees are so high that it sucks away the earnings unless you're just like using every bit of the benefits that it has to offer, the coupon book. But if you are flying American Airlines, this has to intrigue you, right? The numbers don't lie. Their customer service might, but their numbers don't. Okay, so there you have it. We looked at the data. The data says it's not that terrible. it's not that disappointing. The data shows it's right in the ballpark. I mean, it's right there. It's right. If you're not using the credits from the Sapphire, if you're not using the credits from Amex, and if you're not getting those redemptions, if you're flying American Airlines, then Citi's pretty compelling. It's actually, I was kind of down on it. And if you saw my strategy video, I haven't been able to apply for Citi cards this year because of a whole house thing. But I think I'm going to have to go for it next year. I think I'm going to have to go for it. American Airlines, and it seems pretty easy to get around the same amount of earnings as the other two major setups. So anyway, am I back on the Citi train? Shoot. Anyway, so let me know what you guys think. I mean, am I way off base here? And especially if you already have a couple of custom caches, you are doing well now. You're doing well now. Put your thoughts in the comments. Where am I going wrong? Where am I going right? Do you like the new version 2 of the wallet setup tool? And if you find any value in this video, please like and subscribe to the channel, because we are going to be here next week, and we'll see you then.